Spring's arriving soon. The flowers are going to be in full bloom. The trees come alive and it's beautiful. But your child is stuck indoors with a box of tissues, red, watery eyes, and a nose that won't stop running. Now, you've tried every allergy medication on the shelf. You've kept the doors closed. You've tracked the pollen count religiously and limited even outdoor time during this amazing, beautiful time. But here's the thing that you're not asking yourself is why is this happening? Why is it only that your child can't be outside at the most beautiful time of the year? And here's the thing is that most doctors aren't telling you what the actual problem is, and it's not the pollen. It's your child's nervous system. Now, I want to start with a practice member. Kylie's parents knew something was very different with this little girl. While other kids played outside without any sort of issues, Kylie dealt with relentless congestion. She had a perpetually runny nose, and she was absolutely miserable with seasonal allergies that absolutely controlled everything within her family's schedule. They had tried every supplement, every natural protocol, and every over the counter remedy. Some things helped a little bit, but they never actually felt like they were correcting the cause of the problem. And that's where they were determined to find the root cause of this imbalance. When they discovered neurologically focused chiropractic care, everything else changed. And it wasn't about the pollen counts. Because once we started to identify stress within Kylie's nervous system, it was obvious that there was a disruption in the brain gut relationship. See, her immune system was struggling, it was out of balance. And this out of balance environment caused her body to no longer able to adjust to environmental changes. See, Kylie's parents knew that allergies were just a symptom, but yet her body was attacking itself internally, causing her to no longer be able to play outdoors. This amazing story. I mean, Kylie was under care for just a few months, and she was already able to then go outside, play outside, having such a subtle response to the actual pollen counts. And your child can be the same if you start to approach this under a different lens. See, seasonal allergies affect approximately 24 million Americans. 1 in 4 children are affected by the most chronic conditions. And the question that nobody is asking is why do some kids play outside with zero issues while others are trapped indoors sneezing and struggling to breathe? See, I live in an area where a lot of transplants come in the Sacramento Valley. And a lot of people are like, well, I never had allergies until I moved to Sacramento. Well, unfortunately, that might be true from what you've observed, but allergies are not synonymous with just living in the valley. See, somebody's immune system has to be compromised if they are triggered by environmental changes. God did not design pollen to be this affecting for some people. It's not the pollen in the air, it's the immune response within your body. And that's exactly what we're going to be discussing today is what's going on within the nervous system, how the nervous system's affecting the immune system, and how the immune system is just responding to these environmental changes. One thing that doctors do not discuss, especially allergy doctors, is how the immune system is controlled by the nervous system. Now, we are aware that the vagus nerve acts like an air traffic controller and it regulates the immune response. See, the vagus nerve is part of the parasympathetic nervous system rest, digest, restore. When the nervous system is out of balance, then what happens is the immune system finds that pollen is harmful. When the nervous system's balanced properly, like it should be, the nervous system says, pollen, no big deal, it's harmless, breathe it in, enjoy. So what happens is that you start to acquire this imbalance, this stress mode called dysautonomia. And it signals this danger, attack trigger, where histamines and allergy signs start to be affecting. 70 to 80% of the immune cells restore or actually originate from the gut tissue, which is directly regulated by the vagus nerve. So when the vagal tone is damaged, that gut barrier starts to break down. Now, if you start to focus only on the gut, you're not going to recreate that wiring because the vagus nerve is going to be ineffective if it's actually a neurological component. So what's happening is that the vagal damage leads to immune hypersensitivity and these overreactions to harmless triggers like pollen. Your immune system is controlled by the nervous system. Now, you get this perfect storm damage, and nervous system distress can happen really early in life. We first focus on prenatal stress. Stress within the pregnancy transmits cortisol through the umbilical cord, which is a stress hormone. So the nervous system is developed in utero at 10 weeks. Before you celebrate conception, that nervous system, the brain and the spinal cord, are in development. So when mom's all stressed out and that cortisol is running through the umbilical cord, it programs the baby's nervous system to be stuck in fight or flight. So already there's that imbalance within the nervous system. Then we see birth trauma, which is all too common. We see C-sections, forceps, vacuum distractions, on top of the chemical interference within the birth experience, meaning the epidural, the Pitocin, the pain medications. All these different variables add layers to create a susceptibility to nervous system dysregulation. Then from there, the chronic stress keeps the body stuck in fight or flight. Now, a lot of you might be asking, what stress can a child be under? Well, if we look at the prenatal stress, we look at the birth trauma, then we add in all the other factors. Well, we look at chemical distress, antibiotics, medications, vaccines, environmental pollutants. All of these variables stack onto an already very vulnerable nervous system. And then what we see is that these children start to react abnormally to environmental changes such as pollen. So the largest thing is that you have to look at these precursors that lead to this dysregulation. Now, the nervous system is stuck in overdrive, and it's like a computer with way too many tabs open. It's just not synchronizing or communicating properly. Eventually, everything starts to crash. And that's exactly where you get excessive cortisol, which weakens the immune function, which triggers a pro-inflammatory response to harmless pollen. Now, what you're stuck doing, and doing it with your doctor's permission, is that they start to use medications which suppress the signs, but they don't restore health. So you may have somebody who's breathing better, you may have somebody who's not congested as much, but their overall health is no better than it was whether they had allergies or not. And here's the reality is that every person who takes allergy medications still has massive responses to allergies. So it doesn't fix the problem, and it barely puts a little bit of a suppressor on these actual challenges. So these antihistamines, they cause drowsiness, fatigue, and behavioral challenges in children. They stimulate an already overstimulated nervous system by stimulating that sympathetic response. These traditional approaches, which are avoiding allergens, staying inside, limiting quality of life without fixing the root cause. And when this happens, not only does your child still have allergies, but they start to develop other dysregulatory pathways. They have challenges with sensory or visual processing. They have issues with other immune system compromised factors where they're getting sick all the time. They get more sick than other kids in the family, and they get sicker for a longer period of time. The challenge is that we're seeing allergies earlier and earlier. And we don't even see them only in spring. We see allergies in winter, in summer, in fall. Every season nowadays has allergies, and people are just living with the consequences of these symptoms versus getting to the root cause of the problem. Now, there is an option, an alternative viewpoint, if you look at the nervous system as the root culprit of this dysregulatory pathway. And that's where neurologically focused chiropractic care comes in, because we focus on restoring the nervous system balance and allowing the body to heal itself. We start with identifying this dysregulation through our insight scans, which specifically identify where stress resides within the nervous system, and we get to understand exactly where the stressed out state is happening. Then we use very specific and gentle adjustments to release this stored tension within the nervous system. We activate the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system, and we allow the body to help the immune system function properly without overreacting to its environment. Remember, pollen is not the cause of the problem. The immune system is very sensitive, And that immune system is controlled through the nervous system itself. So if you start at the base, more the foundational analysis, it helps to build upward and allow the body to adapt to its stressors. So if your child is stuck in a cycle of these seasonal allergies and they're missing outdoor play and they're relying on medications that never fix the actual problem, there's a much better solution. Your child's nervous system is simply stuck in a pattern of stress and it can be released. Neurologically focused chiropractic care doesn't treat or cure seasonal allergies. Instead, it works to rebuild and restore optimal neurological and immune system function, which gives your child's body the foundation it needs to regulate and adapt naturally. So, if you're ready to help your child break free from seasonal allergies this upcoming spring and enjoy the actual changing seasons without suffering, click on the link below. Send us a DM or schedule directly with Maximize Chiropractic in Sacramento. Let's get your child's experience real relief, and that way they can have lasting health without having to suffer or be under the restraints of medications.